What's going on, guys? It's Jeff, and we are here on Call of Duty Vanguard. Honestly, I forget when this game came out. Okay, a year before MW2, 2022. So I guess this game dropped 2021. This Call of Duty has to be one of the most disliked Call of Duties of all time. I mean, man, but what followed afterwards in MW2 and Warzone 2 couldn't possibly be worse than this. So I'm back here over on some Vanguard just to remind myself what it was like. Honestly, I don't actually really dislike this game. It's definitely had its own problems, okay? This game was a shining example of the weaknesses and strengths of Sledgehammer. I spend a lot of my time talking about the positives and negatives of a lot of these different dev teams and stuff between Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward, Raven even. This Call of Duty was definitely very divisive. Number one, because it just came out at a time where like people weren't really feeling a World War II game. It was just kind of whatever. On top of that, I mean, this game didn't really even stick to that World War II aesthetic. I think that like the aesthetic overall didn't ultimately matter in the end for this game, and Activision probably felt a similar way because the World War II aesthetic didn't do enough because they started adding a whole bunch of different crazy stuff. Is there anything that's considered that crazy? I mean, there's this like scuba outfit. Okay, that's fine. Nothing too crazy though. I didn't really buy anything, so I don't think I have too many crazy outfits. I'm sure I do somewhere, but yeah. Apparently this game is also getting added to the Xbox Game Pass. Now, just like a lot of the other modern Call of Duties, they don't have a lot of staying power. I mean, even Modern Warfare 2019, where, you know, a lot of people were excited about going back to it now, it really didn't even last that long in terms of the hype. Not that we expected it to, but yeah, even that game dies down after, you know, a little bit of time, even when it does see a resurgence. I mean, I tried queuing for DOS House, Ship House, or whatever, but nothing's there. Level 2500, holy shit. I got my graphics and stuff cranked on here to try to, like, you know, visually help the game out a little bit, but something about this game is a little blurry though. It's crazy how much faster you are while tack sprinting in this game. This game had some pretty cool stuff though. In the usual Sledgehammer fashion, they try to give the player a lot more choice than others. Why is this guy laying in the back? I never run out of ammo on this game. So this game, 10 attachments on every single gun in the game. So you can end up making a bunch of god weapons. I'm talking weapons with absolutely no weaknesses. So we go and look at this, right? You can see 10 attachments. We got the optic, recoil booster. This gives me a higher fire rate, 60 round drum, polymer, less flinch, even less flinch on that, lengthened ammo type, tight grip proficiency. Again, just more and more accuracy on sustained fire. It felt like you could basically make some like insane weapon that feels like it should have like awful handling stats and stuff like that. You can build it with like crazy fire rate, badass drum mags. You can build anything on it and then just use the little proficiencies and perks that are also attachments to basically make up for all of the weaknesses that any weapon could possibly have. So yeah, that weapon I think is like the automaton. We got the Blixen classic. This thing as an SMG hits super duper hard. Wait, I have a riot shield on my back? I do. And that was also kind of meta. Same case here for this Blixen. Another weapon you can build with a giant magazine on it that does a bunch of good damage, has virtually no weaknesses. I don't really like the aesthetic of the game overall, but looking past any of those issues, mechanically, I actually really enjoyed this game. This is actually one of the few Call of Duties where I have multiple 200 kill games. This game also had combat pacing, which was like tactical. I forget the name of the other one. And then we had blitz. All that did was change the amount of players that could be in each match. Oh, and I called in dogs right at the last second. Sad. 25-7 first game. I thought it was going to be much worse against people that are like level 2500. I was expecting a hacker or something. There I am. Play the game. Oh yeah, and then we got like this winner circle thing, so you can pick out your own thing like this, show the play of the game or whatever, mow these two guys down, absolutely wipe them as well. I got another kill around the corner, and there we go. We got another cutscene that I have, then they got their own cutscene, and then we have another cutscene from this guy, and then you vote on like which person deserves to go and get like an extra. I'm gonna give honorable mention. There you go, buddy. And then that gives them like extra score or something, I think. They win the vote, they also get extra score. Combat pacing would just simply determine the amount of players in a game. So generally Blitz has more players, but depending on like the map size that the game will be on, the player counts are also adjusted from that point. Ultimately, I do think it's not that bad of a system, but it is a system that is really difficult to sustain. Because of all the different party sizes and stuff, you could definitely run into some issues, especially when the player counts start getting lower and lower. Now, to be fair, we're going from like this just hyper insane. Like, this game was so fast to the point to where there are multiple clips out there of people complaining about how fast-paced the game is. Like, people were saying that there's basically no thought process in this game, and it's nothing but just brain-dead rushing with crazy cracked-out speed, and it's not like they're entirely wrong. But I think for pubs, this game is super fun. That said, I spent a disgusting amount of time in the Ship House playlist. Not because these maps are absolutely terrible, but a lot of them are. I mean, it's not MW19 levels bad, pre-post launch maps anyway, but it's pretty bad. I remember specifically doing challenges on this game. Oh, and another thing, a really, really weak point for Sledgehammer Games. Sledgehammer Games, I remember when this game came out, people were locked out of unlocking the final camo right here that you can see on my gun, Atomic. And honestly, this is one of the more like underrated camos that we've ever had for mastery camo. I really like this camo overall. MW19, they weren't going for all the animated stuff though, so I'm expecting to get a pretty boring mastery camo come MW4. Well, as much as I liked the camo, it took a very long time, more time than it needed to actually get unlocked. Because there were multiple challenges out there that just straight up did not track or work in this game. Or the description was like slightly off and it meant something else entirely. So I don't know if I can actually look at the challenges here. Challenges. Okay, it didn't typically look like this though. Okay, so we have 400 eliminations, 50 headshots, 50 multi-kills, 30 bloodthirsties, 50 long-range kills, 100 close-range kills, hip-fire kills, and then you have this right here. This is what I was looking for, the survivalist camo. It will list multiple attachments that you need to have on the weapon in order for it to count, right? But you would go and put those things on, and sometimes it just straight up would not count. And it would tell you to use, for example, the 9-inch Magnum barrel. You go and put it on, and that's not the case. They wanted you to use the extended 12-inch version with, like, a different proficiency. Oh, I remember this map. That's not even the worst part. So you had those, like, spread throughout the game as well, where they just didn't work. I can't believe how fast attack sprinting is in this game. I'm actually like mind blown at how fucking fast this shit is. There were the launcher challenges. The launcher challenges were telling you to shoot down UAVs and stuff, the typical challenges that they would give you. But it straight up just wouldn't count. I remember that the launchers straight up couldn't shoot down UAVs. And then we had to sit there for at least a couple weeks explaining to them that the thing could not be finished because the thing straight up could not shoot down UAVs. And in some cases, even when you did shoot them down, it did not matter. The funniest part about that, the way that you manage to actually get it to work is give the other team dogs and then shoot the dogs with the launcher. That was the way that I managed to actually get my kills with it. I had to blow up dogs in order to make that shit work. Like, I was purposefully inting to the other team just so they would get the streak so I could get my challenge done. I would just run straight down the middle of Nas house and hope that people had dogs. People still had to do other ridiculous shit like long shot kills with it, and those long shots wouldn't count, so people had to go over onto Warzone and try to shoot people directly with it in like plunder mode and shit. Sledgehammer is for the people, that's their strength. But their actual talent in figuring some stuff out in some moments is bafflingly bad. Sometimes, I think that they cleaned it up on MW3. I think MW3 was definitely one of the best, if not the best, modern Call of Duty, I would say. I did see people having conversations about BO7 versus MW3, but at the moment they don't want to hear me compliment BO7 in any which way, so I'll wait to have that conversation later. Sniping on this game was, I would say, pretty lackluster overall, a little boring, but you know, that's okay. This game's aesthetic, I mean, I'm already pretty bored of it just looking at it. I mean, fuck idiot. Maybe get good at game instead of relying on hacks. I don't think anyone was hacking in that game. I mean, unless I was completely oblivious, but I don't think so. Yeah, whenever I think of this game, I don't think about the sniping or anything like that. I think about this right here, this weapon right here. The Thompson with this specific build, you could adjust it in whatever way you want, but yeah, this was the thing that I was using to drop my 200 kill games over on Das House. And Frenzy was crazy. Frenzy was basically like quick fix. So you could go and challenge people, get a kill, dip, and run away and immediately turn around and fight again. I would get away with murder having this thing on. And a lot of people didn't use it. This thing was crazy strong. This is the weapon that I think of whenever I think about this game. I think about Das House absolutely farming the ever-living shit out of people off of spawn. This Call of Duty was the fastest Call of Duty ever created, and with all of the flack that a lot of the other games get about being too slow and boring and campy, all this other stuff looking at MW19, there is a possibility to make the game too fast. This game is coming to Game Pass. If you want to go and check it out, go ahead. I don't really expect you to, but coming back to it, yeah, I remember very, very well. In terms of the overall feel of the weapons and stuff like that, I know. Yes, I feel it. It's much like MW19, though. If I can't play the smaller maps and stuff, I can't truly revisit the time that I had, especially while camo grinding. Now, while people will say that this game is bad, what followed afterwards would affect the trajectory of Call of Duty forever.